All right, next up, we've got NC State and Duke. ACC action. Duke 3.5-point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this one. You look at this Duke Blue Devils team, obviously a disheartening loss against Notre Dame a couple weeks ago. Just a situation where, they had that game. They were playing pretty well. Then Riley Leonard gets hurt, and that's a big reason why Notre Dame was able to eventually get the comeback victory in that game. So we'll see how this one fares here. Again, you got to keep your eye, obviously, on the status of Riley Leonard going into this game. He's listed as questionable. Now, it's an ankle injury. They initially thought, and the worst, that maybe he's going to be out for the season. But it's probably one where he's going to be out for some period of time. If you ask me right now, I don't think he's playing for Duke here against NC State. But he's not been ruled out. And Duke is off a bye week. They didn't play last week. So keep that in mind that we'll have to see if he's able to end up playing here for Duke here in this game. But they haven't ruled him out. So that tells you that maybe they are going to be able. Now they have Grayson Loftus and Henry Balin here as their backup quarterbacks. We'll see if either of those guys can get the start here if Riley Leonard doesn't go. That's what I'm waiting on, Connor. But I will say this right now. I'm not enamored with taking NC State. They did get a nice win, 48-41. I'll say this, their offense with MJ Morris sure looked a hell of a lot better than it did with Brennan Armstrong, which is pretty funny to say that. And I said last week, it's a buy low spot on the over in that game because the quarterback change is going to light a spark on that offense. While the defense isn't nearly as good as it's been last year, and of course Marshall was able to put up a lot of points and move the football against NC State as well. So, I'm probably interested in Duke, and I'm probably interested in the over if Riley Leonard suits up. If he doesn't, that really changes things. So my decision-making here is really contingent upon whether we see Riley Leonard. And this is not your average, the starting quarterback to the backup is not much of a gap. There could be a huge gap because we just don't know if either of these guys how good they can play at the quarterback spot if Riley Leonard doesn't go. So I won't be on NC State regardless. It's just a question of I'm waiting on Leonard's status to decide if I want to bet Duke and if I want to bet the over, which I will if he plays. What do you think here, C-Mac?
He's got to play. I mean, for me to bet and with Duke, he's that good. Duke's defense is pretty good. Then they have some playmakers. They have solid receivers, but he's that good dual threat at quarterback for him. So, yeah, it's a wait for me. I mentioned last week with NC State, they even covered. I didn't bet that, but they just snuck in. That was back and forth. Marshall, ton of points. The defense didn't look great, but I thought Morris was well. And he had some early interceptions there. I think that's why that game, there was a ton of points in that one. So, yeah, this is a wait and see for me. He's got to be in. But Duke at home, I think he can get it done.
Yeah, Duke's defense, man, that's another thing we got to give Mike Elko, who's done just a terrific coaching job, a lot of credit for. His defense was pretty bad the last couple Cutcliffe years. He comes in now, and look at the difference we've seen in this defense. Last year it was getting better, and this year it's even better than that. And you got to give a lot of credit for that. I mean, they're 13th yards per play defense in the entire country this season, while NC State is 51st. I mean, this is the better defense now. Like NC State has had a good defense all these years. Now Duke's actually the better defensive team, at least this season they are so far.
Real quick, NC State's been bad on the road, ATS. We know that, we talk about it. And, yeah, Duke's defense, except one play, 4th and 15, Sam Hartman gets 16 yards or whatever the hell it was. Stop him on that play.
Yeah, you mentioned NC State. Now, they're 2-0 straight up on the road, but 2 non-covers, 0-2 against the spread on the road barely against a weak Virginia team, and then UConn struggled to pull away and win by margin. So that's exactly why regardless of the status of Leonard, there's no way I'm on NC State in this game. Duke is the better of these two teams still, especially on defense this year.